Every year, Apple usually highlights one headline feature on the Pro iPhones. Something flashy that immediately tells you why these models cost more. But this year, things feel different. On paper, the iPhone 17 Pros are some of the most powerful devices Apple has ever built. They now come with 12 GB of RAM, the largest jump we've ever seen on an iPhone. They redesigned the frame, swapped titanium for aluminum, and even built in a brand new vapor chamber to keep these phones cool. And during the keynote, Apple couldn't stop talking about thermals. That's unusual. Normally, it's about cameras, performance, or displays. This time, it was all about cooling, stability, and long-term performance, which is strange, because Apple never actually gave us the big feature that would need all this new engineering. And that left people scratching their heads. Why make all these changes without showing the reason behind them? Here's what I think. The true advantage of the iPhone 17 Pros isn't obvious right now. At first glance, it looks like a collection of random upgrades, but together they point to something bigger. And that's what we need to talk about. The cameras this year are quietly excellent. Not because of one huge new sensor, but because of dozens of smaller changes that make the whole system more reliable. 3 48-megapixel sensors working together give you confidence that no matter the lighting, day, night, indoors, you will get a shot that looks great. Portraits stand out especially. Even with some digital zoom, they stay sharp and detailed. The front camera is the clearest example of Apple's new approach. It's now 18 megapixel, much wider than before, but still sharp. Suddenly, FaceTime calls with 2 or more people feel natural, no more awkward repositioning. The auto zoom in and out also works surprisingly well, keeping everyone in frame. And for video lovers, ProRes RAW is here. Out of the box, you get solid video from the camera app. But switch to RAW and you capture the purest possible version of that footage, untouched by Apple's processing. That means you can color grade and edit later with almost no quality loss, just like on Pro cameras. The catch: you will need an external SSD even if you buy the 2 TB model. Still, for videographers, that's a serious upgrade. Another neat trick: recording with the front and back camera at the same time. It won't change filmmaking forever, but in some scenarios it's very handy. The 48-megapixel 4x telephoto lens is less exciting. Sometimes you will notice the improvement at a full zoom, other times it's barely there. Still, I prefer this 4x step over the 5x lens from last year, which often felt too close. Battery life is one of the best surprises. On my Pro Max, I had nearly 80% left by mid-afternoon, not something I expected. The smaller Pro has 11% more battery capacity and the Pro Max around 3% more compared to last year. Combined with the efficiency of the new chip and a fresh adaptive performance mode, both phones easily last all day, even with heavy screen time. iOS 26 also adds better battery usage tracking, which makes it easier to see what's draining your phone. Charging is faster too. Plug this into a strong charger and you will get nearly full in about an hour. It's not record-breaking compared to other brands, but it's a big step forward for iPhones, especially with the larger batteries. iOS 26 itself feels a bit rough for now. At a glance, it's beautiful. The fluid animations, redesigned icons, lock screen effects and new 3D wallpapers look modern. But once you live with it, you will spot bugs, glitches in animations and even text readability issues. Clearly, the software needs more polish. Even though the hardware feels ahead of its time. The physical design feels more refined. Some people really dislike the look of these new Pros, especially the orange finish, which is probably the most divisive Pro color ever. Personally, I think it's refreshing. The aluminium edges curve smoothly around the phone, and while it's less minimalistic than past models, it feels unique, and the improved antenna bands actually boost signal in certain places. It also sits flatter on a table, balancing better than previous iPhones. The trade-off is durability. Aluminium scratches more easily than titanium. Apple does claim the front glass is tougher against scratches, though I haven't tested that yet. The display now includes an anti-reflective coating, which cuts down glare compared to the 16 Pro Max. It's not as good as Samsung's S25 Ultra, but still noticeable. If you buy a screen protector, make sure it has the same coating, otherwise the iPhone will reflect just like before. Peak brightness outdoors now reaches 3000 nits, which is more than enough to stay visible even under direct sunlight. One odd change, the speaker and mic swapped places. It means you're less likely to cover the mic on a call, but more likely to block the speaker while watching videos. Strange choice, but not a deal breaker. That said, the 16 Pro Max already had the best smartphone speakers I tested, and the 17 Pro Max somehow sounds even richer and fuller. The A19 Pro chip is insanely powerful, though you won't notice it all time. Day-to-day use doesn't feel faster, and iOS animations even seem a bit slower than before. But in heavy workloads like console-level 3D games running at 120 frames per second, it's breathtaking. Smooth, stable and surprisingly cool, thanks to the new unibody design and vapor chamber that spread head evenly instead of creating hotspots like older iPhones. So what's the bigger picture behind these upgrades? To me, it looks like Apple is building hardware ahead of the software. These phones are over-prepared, extra RAM, better cooling, a stronger chip, all waiting for the next wave of Apple features. Most likely when Apple finally rolls out its deeper AI and Siri overhaul. The iPhone 17 Pros will be the showcase devices that fully unlock that experience. But even right now, they stand on their own. Better battery life, more reliable cameras and rock-solid performance make them strong upgrades. Would I recommend them over the base iPhone 17? Not necessarily. The regular model now comes with 265GB storage and almost all the same features, at $300 less. That's Apple's play to keep volume high and customers locked in. The Pros, meanwhile, are more of a niche option for power users. That's why the Pro Max now comes in a 2TB version for $2,000. Apple knows fewer people will buy it, but those who do will pay extra for that last 5% of performance. So who should get the iPhone 17 Pro? Two types of people. Anyone who wants the bigger screen and longer battery life of the Pro Max since the Plus is gone, and anyone betting on Apple's next-gen AI features, because when they finally arrive, this hardware will be ready for them. Let me know your thoughts on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, subscribe to the channel to not miss any videos, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!